episode of Who Would Win Unleashed, a show that completely ignores anything important happening in the world and instead focuses on a fictional battle between characters from the worlds of comics, sci-fi, and fantasy. I'm your host, James Gavsie, and as always, I'm joined by the one and only Eric Holmes.
Yeah, baby, come on. Wee.
Is it gone? The ambulance is gone?
I mean, what we're about to do, it'll all make sense.
Oh, that makes sense. All right. In today's episode, a nomadic warrior armed with an elite arsenal with Beskar armor is about to have a collision with a cybernetic law enforcement officer built for urban warfare. In one corner, you have the Mandalorian, a battle-hardened bounty hunter who survives impossible odds using devastating weapons and strategic brilliance. And in the other corner, you have Robocop, a reanimated police officer who dispenses brutal justice with unwavering force and high-tech firepower. As usual, I did the patented Who Would Win Google test just to see how many times this matchup has been discussed, and this battle has only been discussed a few times, literally just a few. I had to look for it, by the way, which means it's about time it got the Who Would Win Unleashed treatment today.
And it's only happening here.
Only happening here. Eric, I gotta know, what are your thoughts on today's matchup?
Hey, I'm so excited. It's crazy because for those of our age, Robocop was like the stuff, you know, and now it's crazy to see Mandalorian that's like so popular. So it's really neat to like bridge these two cultural times, you know.
It's almost like the feeling you got watching Robocop, you know, this crazy new character, this, you know, the crazy world they live in, the rules, how they operate.
Yep.
It's a very similar feeling I get when I watch The Mandalorian, especially when The Mandalorian was first introduced. Right? Because what other Disney character for Star Wars has captured our imagination the same way and created that cool feeling? I don't think anyone has compared to The Mandalorian. So today's battle is going to be absolutely epic. Now, speaking of absolutely epic, we got to bring back that judge. Someone who judged a recent episode and had a very positive response, even though I didn't quite get the judgment I wanted. It doesn't matter because the whole episode was so much fun. I'll get over it someday, maybe. Making their second appearance on the Who Would Win show, it's soccer coach, soccer personality, soccer genius extraordinaire, if you will. It's the one, it's the only. It's Tadeo. Tadeo, welcome back to Who Would Win Unleashed.
Yo. I'm so excited to be back here. And this show is so compelling. I was able to leave Irwan with all the gorgeous models and best food just to be here with y'all. This is a battle. The battle in my head was beautiful woman, good food, or my great buddies, James and Eric.
Hairy, stinky guys.
Well, it doesn't. The smell, the odor in here might be emanating from me. I was at the gym. I was at Equinox. I take responsibility.
That's fair.
But I have to tell you, these epic battles, it just really resonated. I've been thinking about it when I was in the gym, and I was like, wow. As a kid, like comic books, I was usually on the football pitch, but comic books were actually a great escape. You know, but when cable before streaming, right? Not to age myself, but before streaming, we actually knew how to read and put down the phone, or didn't have a phone. Didn't have a phone. So, you know, the episode that we have really, I felt it. And I was like, I got to come back here and bring some great energy and muscles. Even though this is not a visual medium, I want to bring that same energy. If they saw, we'd be flexing right now.
Oh, yeah, he's flexing. This guy's juiced up, man. But now you brought it last time. You brought it, and it definitely, conveyed itself.
Here's the thing too. I was explaining to the guys before the show, like who would win, just the whole philosophy. It's is it to celebrate geek culture? Sure. Is it a return on your investment for all of the years of collecting comic books? You know, in my case, being part of a not too celebrated subculture of society. It is, but it's also a sport in its own. It's a cool, hey, I'm going to represent this character who I love, who I grew up with, or who I really enjoy, and just see how they do. And just to let the fan base know, Legion of Audience, it's not to say hey, this is the ultimate winner. This is no. It's to say today, this judge felt based off this argument, this character won, not to put down the other character that lost whatsoever. It's really to get people to say, I want to do this Who Would Win thing at home.
Well, you know what? This Who Would Win thing, you just sparked an idea in my head. You know, marketing's my thing. We need to have this as a darn Olympic sport. This should be in the next Olympics. You know what I mean? So I don't know which one of y'all is going to get the gold and silver.
I will.
Okay, but we'll see at the end of the episode.
Silver,
all right, but this is going to be an Olympic sport, and we're going to get all the people from Comic-Con behind us, and we're going to sell out stadiums.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
I just want to be a judge. I'm not going to be a combatant. Okay, because I don't know as much as y'all do, but I'll be judging and seeing, and I'll be truthful and fair.
Thank you.
I like
Except
where
for I
this
do
is
like
going.
bribes.
I like how you aim low. You know, I don't know. Let's make it a TV show. Let's make it a at-home party game. No. Today I was like, we're making this an Olympic sport. With that being said, I can see this happening, but you're going to have to remove some other event as Olympic sport. Why is that going to be breakdancing?
Well, it's not fair. You read my mind. This dude has superpowers. I was gonna say when you saw those Europeans breakdance, it was a shit. It was embarrassing.
Right,
they played into the stereotype. Did they have any rhythm? It was a tough showing.
And I was so happy because I love breakdancing. I was like, finally, like it's crazy that all the stuff, a lot of things that are kind of controversial are getting added into the Olympics. But I was like, okay, breakdancing, like these are athletes.
Oh, yeah. Breakdancing makes so much sense as Olympic sport. You know, nothing like, I don't know, MMA, which actually was a sport in the original Greek Olympics known as pancration. No, let's not have MMA. Breakdancing.
Yes, finally.
Let's do that. And we all saw how that turned out. But you know what should replace breakdancing and MMA? Who would win?
I'm
Olympic sport.
You know I got some clout. So I got some clout. So I'm going to make some calls.
2028 Olympics coming to LA.
There we go. We're going to be in the Coliseum, just like in the Greek times when MMA was working. Okay, I got this. We're there.
By the way, when you're done with the games, there's two guys underneath the stadium debating.
So Mandalorian versus Robocop Coliseum?
That's correct. That's
Los Angeles.
Yeah, I'll dress up like the Mandalorian.
Okay,
and
I'm ready for it.
Like 10 foil on
in a bucket or whatever. The sponsors will be behind me. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, real costume.
All right, I like where all this is going, but we got to get to today's battle. Now, before we get to today's battle, let's talk about the basics of a who would win match. Now, each debater will make 3 points. Keep in mind that who would win match is a random encounter in a neutral location with no prior knowledge or prep time allowed, and the debater has to stay within the confines of the character. And when it comes to determining the winner, it's the judge who has the final say and will determine which character lost based on death, incapacitation, or battlefield removal, with no outsider interference being allowed. Remember, the bottom line in who would win match is that for one side to get the win, their opponent must be somehow incapacitated for a minimum of 2 minutes where they pose no threat whatsoever. And before we get started, don't forget to leave the Who Would Win Show a 5-star rating and a fantastic written review wherever you download and listen to podcasts. And now, let's get to the tail of the tape for both of our combatants. Eric, please give us the details for Robocop.
Yeah, so let me introduce you guys, in case you forgot the name, Mr. Officer Alex Murphy. Alex Murphy was fatally shot, not just shot, like it was horrible. That scene was very intense.
Sorry, kids.
Yeah, like ripped apart. Definitely have parental guidance if you watch that scene. He was shot multiple times in line of duty and re-engineered by Omni Consumer Products into Robocop, a cybernetic law enforcement machine. In his trilogy of appearances, Robocop combats organized crime, rogue cyborgs, and military-grade threats. Despite his programming, Murphy retains a fragment of his humanity, making him both a ruthless enforcer and an unpredictable force of justice.
Very cool. All right, well done, Eric. Now, here are the details for The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian, also known as Din Djarin, the Mandalorian warrior, was raised in a warrior cult after being orphaned during the Clone Wars. As a lone bounty hunter in the post-Empire galaxy of Star Wars, he became known for taking on high-risk targets and surviving impossible missions. His training and adaptability make him a lethal threat to droids, elite soldiers, and Force users alike. By the way, I can't wait for his next movie coming out. Mandalorian and Grogu. This is going to be absolutely awesome. And now you have the facts on both opponents. Today, do you have any questions before we get started?
Yes, I do. Is Mandalorian a spinoff of Robocop?
Ooh,
okay.
Ooh.
I mean, are you trying to connect some dots here?
I was just curious because they look very similar. I'm looking at the big screen.
They do look similar. There is no official connection whatsoever. Now, there are connections to like Indiana Jones to Star Wars.
Okay. So, because I was thinking it was it could have been like a dad who didn't claim one of his children.
He just went to space?
Like he transported, teleported, and had a kid in another. Oh, no, they're not related.
So an Olympic sport is what you're saying.
Yes.
For who would win. Okay.
I like it.
No, there's no relation whatsoever.
Okay.
Valid question.
Yeah,
Valid
but like
question.
that's why the people who come up with these battles thought there would be, because I think what's in common with both these characters is they're both trying to be these things. Robocop, this ultimate police officer, Din Djarin, a bounty hunter, at least at first, but their humanity kind of shines through and overtakes what's going on. I can see there is a connection that way, which is pretty cool.
For sure.
Look at you coming up with some
Let's
philosophical
go,
things happening. This
and
is
this
good.
only happens on a Who Would Win Show Unleashed. these type of conversations.
It's the only time I ever think.
It's a think tank. Yeah, it's a think tank in here, baby.
Oh yeah, totally. If I go to a dinner party with my wife, I'm never allowed to think about this stuff whatsoever.
Sit there quiet. Do not think.
Yeah, no one cares. Which, by the way, people do like debating this at dinner parties. I'm not going to lie. This is it. Yes, I've taken over almost every dinner party I go to. The odd time I invited one with these who would win debates because dinner parties are boring.
They need
to be spiced up. That's another discussion. All right, enough of this foolishness. Eric, here's your point number one.
Yeah, so I want to get into Robocop's unrelenting durability and damage resistance. Okay, Robocop's titanium laminate armored shell is designed to resist high caliber ballistic fire, explosions, and direct hits from anti-tank weapons, as seen tanking RPG blasts and heavy machine guns without losing combat ability. Unlike Mando's Beskar, which has small gaps at joints and requires combat mobility. I love it. It's like my little crowd over here. To avoid hits, Robocop's armor is fully integrated and internally reinforced, preventing penetration by most small-scale projectiles. Also, in Robocop 2 and 3, yes, there was 3. There was a trilogy of them. He survives repeated explosive barrages, environmental destruction, and direct attacks from cyborgs like Kane and ninja androids without permanent disabling damage. And lastly, it can keep advancing through Mando's weapons, fire, including his flamethrowers, blasters, and whistling birds, absorbing damage long enough to close the gap and deliver disabling shots. And all that, James, is my point number one.
All right, so this is cool. The one problem I have, and I love Robocop, I love how he does everything, I love how he talks, I love how he moves. Everything's really great about him. The one thing I don't like about Robocop is he doesn't have a face covering for the bottom, from his jaw. That's wide open. He's also not really fast with the, hey, just raise my hand and put it over. Like, why couldn't he take his left hand, literally just put it over his mouth, right, as he's shooting with his right hand? Like when you're boxing, if I'm throwing a big cross, my left hand's covering my face as I'm throwing big, so I'm not wide open. Why doesn't Robocop do that? Because it may not be in his programming, which is a huge flaw, by the way. Just putting that out there.
Okay. Well, there is a part that kind of covers the jaw, but then the lips are showing.
Yeah, you know what's funny is like if I have an opening, like a mouth, you know what I want to protect? The chin. You're fighting. You do get hungry.
So you want to have access to it.
Yeah, but he doesn't get fed through his mouth, Eric. This is how you would know. Oh my gosh, where are we going with this? All right, let me get to my point number one. Like someone's spoon feeding him some stuff. Nom, nom, nom. It's good for you. No, there's none of that. Okay. All right. Let me get to my point number one. This is all about mobility, range, and tactical superiority. Okay. So first of all, look, if you really know the Mandalorian, he's got a jetpack, right? So he can get high up in the air really quick. He's very versatile. He can move vertical, super fast, aerial flanking, fast evasion in the sky. These are things that the Mandalorian can do as advantages over Robocop. And again, Robocop kind of moves a little slow, predictably. He's not really good as a counter person, especially from far, right? Mandalorian thrives in really diverse terrains, by the way. We've seen him have battles in deserts, snowfields, cities, underwater, and spaceships. Put Robocop underwater. Not going to be too good. Put him in the air. Not going to be so great for him. Snowfields, he'd probably be okay. But the whole point is the Mandalorian's had way more versatility in his battles than Robocop has. Remember, it's a neutral location that doesn't favor anyone, but both of these characters are good at using the environment. I think Mandalorian will have the edge in that regard. This is someone who's outmaneuvered Dark Troopers. Those are those crazy ass droids at the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian that were like just crushing everything and destroying stuff. And he was able to outmaneuver them, even with their enhanced strength. And he used the jetpack and burst. He used tight space tactics, range control. This is someone who just knows how to adapt to whatever it is he happens to be facing. And those Dark Trooper droids moved almost identically to Robocop. So this isn't like something he's not experienced before. The bottom line, Mandalorian can use his terrain to his advantage. He's done it before. He can move super well. He also has that aerial advantage. And as we've established in previous Who Would Win Unleashed shows, if one character can fly, they have a much better chance of getting the win overall against a character who can't. That's my point number one.
Well, James, you made a very nice introduction of, the Mandalorian and all. With the whole flight capability in Robocop 3, Robocop does obtain a jetpack for about a second. So he got a little, vertical, and horizontal up in the sky.
So he's not vertically challenged.
No, he was enabled. Yeah. So I think that changed it. In terms of Mando's gear and everything in his weaponry, yes, very strong, very powerful. Just keep in mind, Robocop's titanium laminate armored shell is designed to resist, high caliber ballistic fire. So he's a much larger object than what Mando was shooting with his, with his weapons and all. And he does move slow. I do agree with that. So that is something that I will have to make up some space for. With that.
All right. So I like this give and take here. This is pretty cool. Today, we've heard one point from both Eric and myself. Where's your head at so far with this battle?
Well, right now I'm thinking like Robocop's kind of antiquated. He's like Internet 1.0. I'm a little nervous of that glass jaw, right?
Right.
And he's slow. Like Robocop reminds me of like old people dancing. It sounds like Mandalorian is kind of nimble. He's got some rhythm.
If I were to check out your browsing history, what am I going to find?
We always erase it. I browse in private. Sorry.
Good for you.
You know what I mean? I'm a little too smart for that.
That's right.
Wow, there's nothing on your search history. Wow, you've never gone on the internet.
Never searched
No. And the titanium suit is impressive. However, what I like to do is see aerial battles. And I'm envisioning Mandalorian lifting Robocop and just flying around and beating him up in the air. So I'm kind of leaning thus far. Well, I won't share where the round goes, but I do have an idea. Robocop's got to make up maybe a little bit of ground, maybe get an upgrade.
Okay.
Ooh, interesting stuff. All right. This is going to be a cerebral battle.
Yes.
I can already tell. Stay tuned for point number 2. And we're back. Eric, let's see what you got. Hit us your point number 2.
So let me get into Robocop's machine precision targeting and reaction time, okay? Robocop's advanced heads-up display and auto-targeting allow for millisecond level reaction times even when facing multiple attackers. He's shown to target and shoot multiple assailants in a single motion before they can react. His tracking systems can literally lock onto heat signatures and moving targets in smoke and darkness, preventing Mando from vanishing behind cover or using usual ambush tactics, okay? Robocop has also demonstrated hacking ability to override systems and security networks. He may be able to detect, anticipate, or even disrupt Mando's tech-based traps in a neutral environment, all right? So keep that in mind. Lastly, his perfect aim and multi-target lock-ons let him deliver critical shots to Mando's exposed joints. All right, he has a lot of exposed joints. Mando does, and unarmored parts as well, exploiting the weak points in his Beskar coverage with surgical precision is a huge advantage for Robocop, and all that's my point number 2, James.
I like how you use a French accent on Beskar. I'm as someone who grew up speaking French, I do appreciate never having to speak French ever again. And here we are, Eric. Beskar.
Say Beskar, please.
Say Beskar.
Beskar, damn it.
Yes,
right. Yes.
Say it like a Southerner. It's Beskar.
Well, get
Beskar.
it done, brother.
Yeah, get some Beskar armor out there. Okay. So, here's the deal. I think Robocop, is he more accurate than Mandalorian? I didn't even think about that. All right. I think Mandalorian's insanely accurate with his weapons, but in terms of a one shot, like being quick with your accuracy, like you've got like a millisecond to be accurate with it, I actually have to give it to Robocop.
He has multi-target lock-ons.
Okay, I've already given you the win on this one. You really got to. He's like, tell me how much I want. Okay,
and he's multi-target. Now let me stop. Okay,
yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So I do think that's something he's got. Even though the Mandalorian has that little thing on his helmet, he can flip down. But that's for long distance, sniping kind of stuff. So I do think RoboCop has an advantage in acquiring a target very fast. But that Beskar armor covers, a lot of the Mandalorian. So just because he gets a shot off, even a headshot, it's not going to do too much to stop him. And is RoboCop going to be able to analyze what's happening? Because it's not like Beskar armor is something that, Detroit OCP, the police force, are really encountering or even know about, right? I think Mando's technology is really just going to be something that's going to take a long time for RoboCop to figure out, figure out how to get around. All right, so let me get to my point number 2, because let's talk about, the arsenal that is really great at dismantling, these types of opponents. So Mandalorian has these, in his gauntlet on the wrist part, there's little mini missiles called whistling birds. And it's a small barrage of missiles that can be launched short range, long range, whatever it is. And those have taken apart or really damaged those dark troopers who do have that armor-plated armor and all that kind of good stuff. And you can just throw those out all the time. And the great thing about RoboCop is you don't have to be insanely accurate to say, hey, hit him in the mouth. You know, it's not like I need to hit him in the eye or something. By the way, the visor is not something that's super durable either. So if he does take headshots, that's going to do some damage. Now, he also has what's called an ambient phase pulse rifle disintegrator. We saw him in the first season of Mandalorian. That's that long-range rifle that disintegrates objects when he was shooting those poor little Jawas, right? Man. And they would just like and disappear. Terrible. So fun fact, in the Star Wars universe, both the Empire and the Rebels said, this is too dangerous for us to use. No one should be using disintegrators. In fact, in The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader says to Boba Fett, as he's taking on that bounty to hunt down Han Solo, don't use a disintegrator because we won't be able to tell if it's actually Han Solo or not. So that's what the Mandalorian carries around with him. He uses great advanced tech and even stuff that's currently outlawed by both the Empire and the Rebel forces, right? I don't think Robocop's ever seen that. On top of that, he's got the Darksaber. Detroit's pretty nasty, I'm not going to lie. Like, you never know, you know.
What you see in Detroit.
Yeah, I've had a hot dog from Detroit. Those do disintegrate your insidey places, not going to lie. But,
fly out of here.
Right, but they take time. You know, that's a good at least 10 minutes before you really feel that disintegration. On top of that, the Mandalorian has what's called the Darksaber. That's that really cool looking black lightsaber that he's got. Now, does he have great control over it? No, but for most of the time he's got it and he can swing it. And again, Robocop's not doing these ballet-esque aerial Spider-Man maneuvers to dodge. You know, he's leaning. He's maybe backing up. He's not doing anything that's too crazy to evade these shots. So if someone's got the sword that's even hard for them, they're still going to be able to just swing it in a general direction and hit Robocop. And I can tell you his armor, could it take it? Maybe once it'll be heavily damaged, but it's going to slice through maybe the second shot or third shot. This is just tech that Robocop hasn't encountered before. All of that is my point number 2.
Right.
Now, can I give you a rebuttal?
Go for it.
Okay. So even though he's got the Beskar armor, when he gets like hit, he still gets rattled. You know what I mean? So his head will still be like, right? He'll still have like head trauma and concussions.
Right.
So, you know, if something explodes, the armor's not damaged, but he's inside it. It still hurts him.
Okay, so really good points, but do not forget with Robocop, okay? He has an advanced heads-up display and auto-targeting, allowing for millisecond level reaction times, okay? And he's faced multiple attackers and has been able to counter all of them. So I feel that this will definitely give him an advantage over Mando.
Interesting. Okay. I like how you're kind of repping Robocop on this one. It's a real chess match right now. So we're at the turning point today. We've heard 2 points from both Eric and myself. Where's your head at so far with this battle? Who do you think is ahead? And what does the other side have to do to get the victory?
Well, I'm hearing a lot of things. First of all, they're from different universes or planets, but Detroit seems like it's been nuked. So if Robocop just survived Detroit, it looks like a nuclear bomb hit it. I don't think anything, even the banned weapons by Darth Vader, shows they're bad. This is still a nuke. And him surviving that, what I really like, I mean, this heads-up display, it sounds like the navigation in those fancy cars or Top Gun.
Come on.
And the pinpoint accuracy, you know, the Beskar shielding, I don't know if it's going to handle that pinpoint accuracy and also that long range attack. You said it's accurate, right?
Correct.
All right, so he's a cyborg, so his program shouldn't go wrong. So I'm kind of, I don't know, Robocop's kind of mounting a comeback. Like maybe it's like Robocop Part 4. Like I'm seeing need for like a resurgence of the trilogy.
Yes. Yeah. So at the end of Part 3, he realizes Mandalorian's coming down to attack, so he prepares himself by eating hot dogs from Detroit, and then he's like, oh, it screws him up, but he heals from it somehow, where metal comes in, or he takes Tums or whatever it is. So anyway, Part 4, you're saying Mandalorian comes in, and now Robocop is prepared and is picking apart. The one thing, you know, because what I'm going back and forth with is, you know, you think of the range of the fight. Is this taking place up close from an aerial perspective? Is it mid-range? I do see Robocop having certain advantages if it's up close. I still don't think he'd even win up close, but that's where he's going to be. So is he going to be up close? Is he not? I don't know. This is up for the judge to decide. Right. So what do you think has to happen for another, like, let's say Robocop's ahead. What does Mandalorian have to do to get the win on this?
Well, Mandalorian's got to come up with something crafty. When I say crafty, he's got to be elusive. He's got to be cunning. So it's going to come down to some intelligence, right? Is there a smart being under this bounty hunter? Like, I want to know his motivation.
That's right.
Like, Robocop's here to protect the community. Like, and we need that. We might need that in South Central LA. I mean, we need that almost in Venice and you know, Southern California and Santa Monica, because we've got a lot of things going on. Right.
Canada, we could have helped use that, but you know, French Canadians. Anyway, we're not allowed to have nice things.
Well, no. I'm really hoping that Mandalorian can be creative and crafty and give us something more. Like, I want to know the motivation, like why he's a bounty hunter, why he thinks he can be Robocop. Like, there's got to be some passion involved.
Interesting. Like so the reasoning behind why he's there for the fight.
Yes.
All right, this is good stuff. All right, this is why today I was like, in demand for many things.
He's
Around the Who Would Win show.
Commodity around town.
Who would win in the Olympics?
Who will win in the pier fights in Santa Monica?
That's the fans. Right. The fans win that one.
Right.
All right, this is great. Let's see what's going to happen. Stay tuned for point number 3. And we're back. Eric, it's now or never. Hit us for your point number 3.
I'm going to bring it home. Now, do not forget, now, Robocop is a man of the law. He's a lawman, all right? So I want to get into his relentless, unstoppable law enforcement programming. And of all cities, Detroit, Michigan. It takes some serious programming and training to be an officer in Detroit, baby. No diss to the D. Hey, it is what it is, right? Okay, so listen. Robocop is designed to neutralize threats without mercy or hesitation, okay? Pushing through damage and pain with unwavering single-mindedness. He cannot be intimidated, tricked, or negotiated down. Mando's never gone through the type of trauma that Robocop has gone through, all right? That was a very intense situation that caused him to become Robocop. So like we said, he literally cannot be intimidated or tricked, and he has a very tough mind over matter type situation going on, okay? He also has defeated upgraded cyborgs in Robocop 2 with superior strength and speed by using raw tenacity and superior targeting even when heavily damaged, all right? He was still able to defeat other upgraded cyborgs, okay? Also, Mando, remember, he relies on creative tactics and situational tools. But Robocop's simple, brutal approach cuts through that, okay? Once he locks on, he just keeps shooting until the target is down. Even with Mando flying around with his little jetpack, he'll still lock in on him and bring him down. Also, Robocop ultimately wins by advancing through Mando's best attacks, okay? Using superior targeting to disable Mando's limbs or jetpack and executing precise, incapacitating shots that leave Mando out cold for well over 2 minutes with no way to threaten him farther. That's how he'll be able to beat Mando in the battle. And all that's my point number 3, James.
I like how you're preparing this. You're kind of like a Shakespeare meets nerd and geek culture. I like how you're reading this out, and this is all your... Okay, yes. Here's the deal. I've learned over the years how to do this, so I'm just going to have to bring this up right away. Robocop has what are called 3 prime directives.
Okay, come on.
Now this overrides everything that he does because these 3 things have to happen before he does anything. It's a filter, if you will. So number 1, serve the public trust.
Yes,
what if Mando is just like, because remember, Mandalorian always comes across when he first meets law enforcement as very nice. Hello, nice sir. Guy. Hello, officer. How are you? So Robocop's going to be like, I don't know if this is a bad person, a criminal, like I need to evaluate.
An oddly dressed person in the neighborhood? Or?
Yeah, by the way, you said yourself, he lives in Detroit. You just listed everyone.
He's seen everything.
He's seen Mandalorian's not even top 10.
He's seen Mando since the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. Right? The second one's protect the innocent. Well, Mandalorian's not actually hurting anyone who's innocent right now, is he? They're both squaring off. So, and Mandalorian's very, very streetwise throughout the galaxy. And the last one
galaxy-wise?
is... Galaxy-wise. Okay. If you always saw what you did there. Saw what you did. That's clever. And the last one is uphold the law. See, this is the thing. He is going by the law of Detroit, or the law of the United States, whatever you want to call it.
Foley.
Exactly. Yes. So he, blowing up something that has a ton of people in it, he can't do it because that's against the law. I guess arresting someone wrongfully might be against the law. Like the motivation of Robocop to fight back or do everything where he fully unloads is going to take time because he's got to go through those first 3 directives always. And again, put that up against or add to that how the Mandalorian is very clever, like insanely clever. Because what does Robocop do? He identifies himself as a police officer. Mandalorian's gonna be like, oh, law enforcement, got it. I know what to do. He's got those street smarts to kind of help him understand how to navigate and at least get the surprise or the first few shots on Robocop. Plus, Robocop, when he sees him walk into the room, pretty clear it's a badass. It's not like, hey, I wonder if this guy's strong. No, I wonder if this guy could do some damage. You know that right away the moment Robocop, or like Eric does when he walks into a room, you know this is someone of consequence. I threw you a compliment. You're welcome. All right, now let me get to my point number 3.
What you got, James?
Okay, let's see how this goes. We're at point number 3. This is about the armor, the resilience, and the strategy to win. Now, on top of all that, Mando has a couple extra weapons. He's got the grappling line, which can tie up a slow-moving Robocop. Same way, kind of like Empire Strikes Back, and those large, camel-like creatures get tied up with that rope, whatever. Same thing for Robocop right there. He's also got a flamethrower. Now, I'm not saying he's going to hit Robocop in the face with flame. Robocop's going to be like, my face. But I think it will make him like back up a little bit and kind of hurt him a little, or do something. But that Beskar armor, let's talk about that for a second. Now, this is the strongest material, I believe, in the Star Wars galaxy. It's blocked direct hits from powerful blasters, explosions. Even the Darksaber can't get through. A lightsaber cannot get through Beskar armor. The only way it can even affect it is if you literally have to put the lightsaber against it. You got to keep it there, and maybe Beskar armor heats up after a while. You can see the color change, but that's not something that's going to be happening to, Robocop doesn't have that, nor does he have the time to kind of keep that up against Mandalorian. On top of that, Mando's got, he's endured crazy stuff, physical beatdowns, high altitude drops, force-based attacks, all without shutdown or system failure in terms of his equipment and what he does, and he stays conscious with it because he's just like tough. His tactical mind, this is crazy. This allows him to exploit like crazy parts about his opponents. We saw this when he defeated the droid assassins, Imperial soldiers, by exploiting timing and environmental traps that he set up on the spot, right? Normally when we say, oh, this person's great at setting up traps, but you have no time to prepare in these battles, he doesn't need time to prepare. He's just on the fly. He'll set a trap, lure them back in, even take punishment if he has to, just to line up for that trap and execute it. He did it against these large, crazy creatures on that prison kind of ship where they're kind of coming after him, and he was taking the beating all just to position him so he can close the door, eject him into space, or do what you have to do to win, right? He's that kind of guy. Bottom line, he's going to beat Robocop by disabling his motor functions with precision attacks from those whistling birds, or at least hit him in the mouth. That's still wide open. He's going to close the distance, do a short burst kind of overwhelming thing. He's going to use the disintegrator, which will this destroy Robocop completely? No, he's not going to go poof, but a big chunk of them will. And guess what? He can shoot more than once. On top of that, he's got the Darksaber, and he can go aerial. And no offense, Eric, Robocop 3, a classic movie up there with Godfather, Godfather 2, all the great films of our generation. But he used it for a short period of time, and he's not a master of using it. It's not like he has it on him. It's a one-off. Whereas that jetpack that the Mandalorian has, he's got it all the time. It's right there. Plus, it's a missile. He can shoot that at the Mandalorian too. Too many weapons. He's too tough. He's got too many ways to survive attacks. All that's my point number 3.
Okay, well, yeah, James, you made some good points, but remember, one thing with Mando, even though he can withstand some of these, with his armor can withstand it, but remember, Mando gets bounced around inside. Okay, so the amount of firepower and precision that Robocop can unleash on Mando, I think, can really affect him, and thus giving Robocop the advantage to fire more ammunition at him. And also, this is a lawman, and Robocop has a tremendous amount of strength. Okay, so once he realizes that Mando's breaking the law, which, mind you, you mentioned earlier how Mando looks, Robocop's seen some things, so he's already going to be on high alert, and he could be a trigger happy cop, for all we know. So once he realizes this and gets a hold of Mando with his strength, he could literally snap his neck. So that's my rebuttal to your point number 3, James.
That's true. Whenever Mandalorian's been caught by someone with like kind of superior human strength, he's had a big struggle, and he's had to fight like crazy to get out of that grip. The question is Robocop stronger than the opponents he's faced in the Star Wars universe who are humanoid kind of thing? You know what? I'm going to say yes. I think Robocop is stronger, at least slightly, than anything Mandalorian has faced in terms of a humanoid. There's a so yeah, I think I don't know if he's faced a Wookiee ever, like a Chewbacca type of thing, but I don't know. These are all good things, but none of that matters because now it's time to throw it to the judge. Now, before we do, let's kind of see what our recap is and what the 3 major points each of us has. So Eric, what are your top 3 points for today for judging this battle?
Remember, okay, Robocop's armored frame tanks almost everything, okay? My second point is his machine level targeting give him the edge in landing critical shots on Mando's weak points. Okay. And then lastly, Robocop powers through every trick and will disable Mando's mobility and weapons.
Ooh, these are good points. Okay, my 3 points. Beskar armor, right? Just got to lead with that. Number 2, he's got an amazing arsenal. That's the mini missiles, a disintegrator, and a darksaber. And number 3, Mandalorian's got just better range. He can attack from further away, and he's got the aerial advantage or aerial superiority going for him as well. All right, Tadeo, you've heard everything. 3 points from both Eric and I right now. It's time for your decision. Take us through your process. Tell us a story, if you will, and reveal who you think wins this battle between the Mandalorian and Robocop.
Absolutely. So now we have the law versus lawlessness, right? So basically it's good versus evil. So this is a kind of a superhero concept and also the real world. As we've seen in the past, sometimes evil prevails, as we did with Puff Daddy. So sometimes rule breaking works. So, but you might stay with my train of thought. You don't know where I'm going with it. It might behoove you. But I like how Robocop has the armor. Right, he's a tough dude. He looks like a gangster. Yeah. I mean, he's kind of scary. As we remember that traumatic scene as kids, it was compelling when they shot him up. Like I think we all shed a tear, right?
Like, oh yeah.
I don't think we slept that night.
When they shot the hand, that's what I was
It was cold.
Oh, it was horrible.
It's cold, ruthless.
Yeah, I know.
But in the real world, Robocop is known. I remember it. Doing my research, dead or alive. You're coming with me.
Let's go.
So
I
had to do my research and remember, because it's been decades since I've seen the movie.
Yes.
However, I'm really thinking about life and transcending universes. When you don't play by the rules, you might win. So I'm seeing Mandalorian coming into this situation, right? With those arsenal of missiles, right? The tactical advantage, and just immediately with his grappling techniques, attacking Robocop, getting him off guard before he can actually respond with his amazing accuracy. And I kind of see, round 2 of him being short-circuited quite quickly by the Mandalorian, because gangsters sometimes win. And there's Detroit gangster, and then there's a whole nother Star Wars universe and Darth Vader. So I think that might trump it. So I'm gonna see in the battle that I envisioned a medium range battle, not letting Robocop grab him, break his neck, have him jarred in his Beskar armor. I'm gonna have to say Mandalorian and evil win this one, and I'm not cheering for it because I'm a man of morals and principles, somewhat most of the time, right? And
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, just not on weekends. But I'm gonna give the James represented and Mandalorian, I think, in the Star Wars universe takes this one.
And there you have it. The only thing I would disagree with is I shouldn't disagree with anything because I'm brilliant. And you came with a really equally brilliant answer. Sometimes, he's outside the law, but he's kind of like the anti-hero who's become like, he's looking after Grogu now. He's kind of, and maybe that's his motivation, because if he loses, who's going to look after Grogu? Right. So just like you said in the previous battle of Gambit and Nightwing, it's like, who's bringing that motivation, the inner angst out to kind of dig a little deeper to bring that to the surface to help them get the win.
Wow. That's heavy. But, behind every criminal, there's a loving story. So I believe.
That's true. My old Hebrew school teacher, Mrs. Finkelbaum, same way. But no, she's pure evil. There's nothing redeeming about her. She's dead now. So again, she can't hurt anyone.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. It took a lot of work. All right. So listen.
Well,
sorry for anyone who's actually named Mrs. Finkelbaum, by the way. I have nothing against you
against
in the real world. I
family.
wish you all the best. Mazel tov, the whole thing. But yeah, all right. Eric, this was a really tough battle. You did a great job. Thank you. Seriously, I was like, he brought up the strength. He brought up how, Mandalorian gets banged around in the armor.
Yes.
You came close. Tell Legion of Audience, our fan base, how you're feeling right now.
Yeah, no, literally, I know Mandalorian right now, it's popular, it's trending and everything, but I really wanted to give Officer Alex Murphy justice, to represent him. And this guy literally kicks some butt and is he's literally a Robocop, a cyborg, and just a machine, So, as they say, I guess if I lost today, this is the way, I guess.
That is the way. That is the way. You know what I do see in a second encounter? Especially if Robocop has some experience, he'll absolutely destroy Mandalorian way worse than the first place.
Just these little more space experience. Like, what's these little space?
Well, he'll
guys
take it personally,
about,
right? That's the whole thing. Yeah. All right, well done today. This was exactly why we brought you back. You were amazing, absolutely fantastic. Please come back really soon.
Anytime.
In the meantime, tell the Legion of Audience, our fan base, where they can find you online.
You can find me at Cuerpazo. That's Cuerpaso, and that means in the real world, amazing exotic body. and that's kind of what I might have. Because you can't see me right now.
Ladies, come and find out.
I like how you're looking at Eric and he's smiling right back at you.
No, because
there's a connection between you two.
He's seen me overseas in the work I do.
No, but I'm not like smiling about his body. Like,
there's nothing wrong with that, Eric. There is nothing wrong with that.
I was repping for the ladies. I said, ladies, come and find them. That gave me a chuckle and a smile. That's okay. Thank you.
By the way, Eric's a good looking, like, this is no offense. Eric's a good looking dude, right?
He's
6'5",
6'5",
6'5", go on. No, I mean, 6'5", 230, you know what I mean? Pretty muscular, doing jiu-jitsu now. By the way, you know what he said to me before this? He's like, I think I gotta start kickboxing. You know what, like a Division I athlete who played football for USC doesn't need when he's already doing jiu-jitsu? More martial arts training. This is gonna be a very scary human being.
Drop kicking guys.
That's right.
He's a real world superhero at this point.
I think so.
He's almost. If you keep training him, James, you'll get him there.
Relentless martial arts studios in Venice Beach. Come on by, baby.
Thank you for that plug. Yes. All right, Eric. Again, you came super close today. Tell the Legion of Audience, our fan base, where they can find you.
Yes, all my social media handles are at DTHE Eric with the C Holmes HOLMES. Always looking forward to connecting with you guys and girls.
Everybody should connect with Eric.
Yeah, just connect with me.
And his phone number is
1-800.
And you can find me on X, aka Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook by typing in at James Gavsie. Remember to join the official Who Would Win Facebook group to make a suggestion for a matchup for the show and be part of our growing community. You can also find us on Instagram and Threads and TikTok at Who Would Win Show. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you go for your podcasts. On behalf of myself, Eric Holmes, and the rest of the amazing Who Would Win production team, thank you once again for checking out another episode of Who Would Win. We'll see you next time.